Dr. Linda Greer, and Melissa Thanks from HOLOGIC.
Check. Hello, I am on. Test, you're on.
Okay. Welcome everybody. We're going to get started. We're so glad you're here today. My name is Melissa from HOLOGIC, and I'm here with my award-winning artist, Sheryl Crow, as well as Dr. Linda Greer, who is a breast imager from Arizona. And we want to thank both of you for being here today to talk about this very important topic of HOLOGIC, which is breast cancer awareness. So Sheryl, I'm going to start with you. And we heard a little bit about your story during the lunch session. But can you just tell us about the week that you were diagnosed?
Well, it was February. In fact, I think I was diagnosed on the 18th. I went in for a routine mammography at the end of, I guess at the very beginning of February. And it was Grammys week. There was just a lot of stuff going on. And I was also getting my eyes LASIK for you guys who were... So I had all these things. I was very busy. I was very, very busy. Way too busy to have cancer that week. And anyway, it turned out that after I got my mammogram, that my radiologist said, you have some suspect calcifications, and we want you to come back in 6 months. And my regular doctor, my OB, called me, and my gynecologist called and said, there's no reason to ever wait 6 months. And she sent me to an oncologist, and I did a needle biopsy, and it turned out that I did have invasive cancer. And I found out right after the Grammys, so it was just a very bizarre, surreal time. But nonetheless, a very transformative time. I created a monumental shift not only in my own life, but in my work life, in my family's life, and it also was a diagnosis that my band, my friends, all of us experienced at our own lives. So it was, some good things came out of it.
Thanks. And with that busy week, and that was a busier week than most of us might have, what was the one thing that actually made you go and prioritize it?
I would set up, because I was a healthy person, I was 43 or 44 at the time. I'm coming up 11 years, so I was 44 when I was diagnosed. And I would just, at that point in my life, I would just schedule everything in January. I would get a physical, I would get my eyes checked, I get a pap smear, I get my mammography, and it was just something I would try to get out of the way the first month so I didn't have to think about it. And that's why I went. And I really was not at all expecting to hear what I did, nor did I feel like that I needed to go and have this looked at. It was only my gynecologist who said, look, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they said if they would have caught it earlier, she would be going through chemo. Please, let's do this. And so that's what happened.
Thank you. I'm glad she did that for you. Dr. Greer, I'm sure you hear all sorts of reasons why women don't come for their mammograms. What are the big ones? What do you hear most often?
Oh gosh, I would say one of the main ones is, I don't have time, or I'm afraid of the results, or it's going to hurt, or, I don't have a family history. It's probably the biggest one, so I don't need to be concerned. But in fact, I would say 3 out of 4 women diagnosed with breast cancer don't have any high-risk factors. So if we are only screening women who know of a high risk in their family, then we're missing all of those ladies with cancer. Also, I think it's something like 16% are under 50. So we really strongly advocate, get in there, go screen at 40. Tell your tech if you're nervous about the pain or anything like that. They'll compress very slowly. The actual exposure takes 4 seconds. It's really not as scary as everybody kind of might play it up to be. The radiation dose is extremely minimal. And early detection, I heard you say earlier, early detection is our best chance. So when you find your cancer and it's very small, treatment is much easier, your life is disrupted much less, the cost is much less. So, that's what our goal is, to find things as early as we possibly can.
Thank you. Sheryl, I know you recently received a clean bill of health, which we're all very happy for you. If you're comfortable with sharing, have you had any other scares between then and now?
I've not. I have, they keep an eye on my breasts. I have dense breasts. Many women, in fact, I don't know if there's a statistic, but many women have dense breasts. And really up until the last, I would say maybe 5, you would know better than me too, the last 5 or 10 years, the technology has gotten so much better, but for people like me who have dense breasts, what was required after I had breast cancer was not only a mammogram, but an MRI and even sonogram. Yes. Now with the Genius 3D, they're able. It's so accurate. They're able to actually detect cancer even earlier than what they would be, which is very helpful because the statistic of women now who are in stage 1, it's pretty much 100% cure. But we don't have a cure for cancer, so prevention, early detection is definitely key. I haven't had any major scares since I was diagnosed, which I just felt like I was having some kind of weird sensation in my temple, and I had it for a couple of years. I also felt like my memory was really going to hell in a handbasket. And my regular intern, my family doctor, just kept saying, look, your memory's bad. You're not getting enough sleep. You have a toddler. And I kept pressing on and pressing on. And it turns out that I have a meningioma. And there are tens of thousands of women who have meningiomas. And sometimes they can be linked to having had breast cancer. It's very slow growing, nothing to worry about. In fact, hundreds of thousands of people have them and don't even know they have them. But yes, that was a bit of a shocker. Just reminding me, just a little bit of a reboot on the fact that, life is just this precious moment. If you look at the grand scheme of the evolution of the world, we're here for a nanosecond, and it just was like a reminder that I don't want to mess around with anything that's not important. I don't want to miss anything. I want to be present, and your memory when you do get older, it's not so great. And that was the bad thing when they gave me that prognosis for having a benign tumor in my brain. They're like, well, we have bad news and bad news. And that is that you have a brain tumor. The good news is that it's benign. And the other bad news is that it has nothing to do with your memory. You're getting older and you don't make any estrogen. So, it's life, right? So,
thank you for sharing. So back to breast cancer, Dr. Greer, there's a lot of confusion around when do I start getting a mammography exam. Can you talk to the group about when to get a mammogram?
Yeah. So every medical society that deals with breast cancer still agrees it should be annual after 40. That's when most lives are saved. The cancer death rate has gone down 35% since mammography came into practice in the 80s. So we know it saves lives, and again, early detection is our best chance for almost assured survival. Some of the recent controversy with the USPSTF, we just find very misguided. So we still strongly recommend have a conversation with your doctor. Annual screening at 40 should be offered to every single woman if they choose to do it.
And I know, Sheryl, you just had your first Genius 3 mammography exam.
And it was fabulous.
No more questions. No. Can you just tell, was it any different from your regular mammogram?
No, actually, my last mammography was not really different from my other ones, except for the machine was newer. But it's still the same squishing. Actually, I will say that with the Genius 3D, I had less pictures taken than I've had ever in the past. And I think part of that is because the slices of pictures that they take are so defined and so accurate that I didn't have to have so many different positions taken. So that was one really fantastic thing. But you know, I think women do fear the dreaded mammography, and it's really not that bad. And like you said, it's over in a second, and just the great relief that you get after you've had it is worth the 4 seconds 4 times on each breast. So.
And Dr. Greer, can you tell us from the clinical perspective, what's different between 2D and 3D? Why is it better?
So a 2D mammogram takes the breast and it just compresses, and what the radiologist sees is just a picture of all that tissue smushed together. So things can clearly hide. 3D, there's actually an articulating arm over the breast, and it takes 15 images, and then those are reconstructed to 1 millimeter thick slices through the breast. So it's like a pages of a book or a CAT scan, any of those things. So we can really see 2 and 3 millimeter cancers now that we could never see before. Even in very dense breasts, we can see these architectural distortions that you can't see at all on the 2D mammogram. So for our practice, our cancer detection rate went up 50%. That's 50% over 2D mammography. So it's made a world of difference for us. And we need women to get out there and really ask for it because it is that much better.
And I will say, not to interrupt, but the difference in my having had my cancer detected in February or waited 6 months could have been the difference in my having radiation or losing all of my hair and being sick and having some uncertainty and having it in my lymph nodes with the possibility of it maybe metastasizing somewhere else. So it's just, it's a wonderful thing that we should celebrate, that in the 80s, the entire breast was coming off. Now the technology is that you may have a lumpectomy and radiation. You may have even less than that, just by early detection. So it's a pretty fantastic, amazing thing that technology is alleviating having to have your breast removed.
You agree? So I'm just looking at
It's right here.
It looks like some of the bloggers might not be old enough to have had a mammogram yet, most likely. So Dr. Greer, could you just talk me through what actually happened when you get your script and how can you go and advocate for yourself?
So the first step is you would see your primary care or your OB-GYN, and they'll give you a script for your mammogram. The one thing you need to know is you don't need to go to the place listed on the script. You can go anywhere you want to. So again, you can search out where's 3D in your neighborhood and find it, and most people do have one nearby. So that's the first thing I would say. When you show up at the center, usually they'll change you into a robe, and you have your 4 views. Like she said, it's 4 seconds per view. It's super easy. It's not very awkward. And then you're done. And some sites will even give you the results that day if you want. If you just ask, hey, can this be read on here? And that also alleviates a lot of anxiety too. So there's a lot of ways to really get it done very simply. Tell all your friends as well. Get in there and get it done because early detection is the way to go. If we hide our heads in the sand, then we end up with extensive treatments that are going to affect our whole family system, not just us, affect your job. It's really going to affect a lot more. If you can catch it early and get a simple treatment, that's the way to go.
Thank you. And Sheryl, as a mom and a woman and a breast cancer survivor, what is the one thing that you want these ladies to take away with them and talk to those people about?
Well, I know, particularly if you're a mom, I know that everyone has the same fears, the same trepidation, and that is, am I going to be around to see my kids get married? Am I going to see my kids when they're in their 30s? Am I going to meet my grandchildren? And that is just a general question we ask ourselves if we have no family history. And I encourage everyone, and I said it in the luncheon, I consider myself very fortunate to have a predominantly female base, and they bring their daughters home. And just to be able to say, it's different now. It's not like it was. Cancer, breast cancer, is not a death sentence. And there is definite power in the knowledge that at that moment in time when you get your mammography that you don't have cancer detected very early and you're going to beat it. So I'm always on the tip of get ahead of the game. You know, do the grunt work and get it done so you can celebrate not having to worry about it.
Dr. Greer, do you have anything else to add about the importance of breast health for the group?
I know that Sheryl touched on it in her talk earlier too, but healthy diet, low stress as much as you can, avoid a lot of unnecessary products that we get exposed to every day. I think just really take care of yourself and then be proactive with your mammography and stay on top of it. We can beat this thing. Most of the time I can really confidently tell somebody when I give them the diagnosis, you're going to be fine. It's going to be, 6 months probably of kind of nasty, but you're going to be fine. This is not going to kill you. And that's such a nice thing to be able to tell people these days. So just be very proactive and take care of yourself.
Thank you. I think we have time for a few questions from our group. So, first question is here.
Actually, you can probably hear me. I know you said that 40 years old is what we should be looking at every year after that.
Thank you. I know you said 40 years old and every year afterwards is what we should be looking at for mammograms. My grandmother died of breast cancer. Is there a different threshold if you have a family history?
There is. The 40-year and above annually is for average risk women. That's everybody. But if you're high risk for family history or whatever, you generally want to start about 5 years earlier. Or let's say you have somebody in your family who had breast cancer at 35. You're going to want to start at 30. So yeah, it's really tapered towards your personal risk. Like in Sheryl's case, sometimes we do even high-risk screening might include an annual MRI as well. So mammography and then 6 months later MRI. And we really do taper it towards the individual.
The other thing I would say about that too is that one of the other great advances that's been made in breast cancer and a lot of other cancers too is the genetic component. And if you have it in your family, particularly you've lost one or more women in your family, you want to get the BRCA test. And that's really between you and your doctor, and particularly the outcome is a personal decision. I know women who have had mastectomy, double mastectomy, and I also know women who chose not to do that, but to wait, be very diligent every 6 months to just stay on top of it. But there might be an argument for having the genetic test just to see if you're predisposed, and it can be up to 85% predisposition that you might have cancer if it's a genetic, there's a genetic link.
So as somebody who has been also told that our dermis and breast tissue are also elevated risk for breast cancer, if I get the 3D mammography, does that mean I don't need to go get like an MRI or another test? If it looks okay, because
most states now have a dense breast law. I know in Arizona we do. I think a number of states do. And what it is if you have a 2D mammogram and you have dense breasts, which is a little more than half of the population probably.
okay, yes, it's not that great.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're nice and firm and perky. So, it just means that when I first heard that, I was like,
but if you have a 2D mammogram, then they recommend that you have some additional screening, which would be ultrasound, 3D mammography, or MRI.
Oh, so you would do the regular one and then the 3D one, or can you just
Well,
skip to
at our
3D?
site, we only do 3D. That's it. You never have a 2D mammogram in our place because we feel like it's a better test. So why give anybody the lesser test? Even fatty breasts, we found a lot of cancers that we cannot see on their 2D mammogram. So we feel that if you've already had the 3D, then you probably don't need additional screening.
Even with dense breast.
Right. But if we see any hint of something on the 3D, then we will recommend additional imaging, but then it becomes a diagnostic exam. But yeah, we feel very confident
so much
with
for
that.
doing this. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
that's so cool. That is so cool.
That's great. Thank
One more question.
she's bringing the mic.
oh, she's
Oh,
bringing you the
it's
mic.
coming.
She's bringing it.
Mike's coming.
Hi, I'm right here. Hello, to your right. Oh, okay. Right there. I have a question. I also was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. Complete surprise. Mr. Kwan was my doctor. Oh. And I I did have a bit of a sentiment. So should I have the 3D mammograms now on some of the rest of my body? Because obviously I would.
So you've had bilateral mastectomies with reconstruction? Yeah. So honestly, there are zero guidelines. Some people get MRIs, some people get ultrasound, but honestly, the mammography, when you really have very long tissues, probably not worth it, to be honest. So I would get ultrasound or MRI. Yeah.
And then the cervical health too.
Oh, that's not. I am right in this area. That's me. Yeah.
Okay, and I have my mic back. Well, thank you all. That's all the questions I think we have time for. But thank you so much for coming today. Thank you both for participating in this and for getting the word out about Genius and mammography. So thank you so much.